All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 101 of the KissFAQ podcast. I'm your host today, Julian Gill, admin on the FAQ message board. Joining me, 69th Blizzard, Ken.
Hello.
Who's that troublesome-looking fella? Oh, yeah. Hey, Andy.
Hey, how's it going?
From Canada, Marcus Almighty. Mark, welcome back.
Hello, sir.
And last but certainly not least, hey, stranger, Daniel. Really, we should have had you a part of episode 101. So I mean, from 100, the highlights one, of course. So hopefully, no alarms today, no nothing. Today's episode. Well, first, any news? And I think Andy. I've got to deal with 5 names now. Shit, I'm screwed. Andy, you were mentioning rumors of tours and whatnot. What do you think?
Just now, all of a sudden, there's huge rumors that Kiss is going to go on a tour in the fall, and they're supposed to bring somebody unexpected to be the opener of Coax, and of course, the whole Ace thing's coming back into play, and yada yada. Yeah, as much as, and everybody knows I'm a huge Ace fan, but I don't want to see it happen. It just doesn't make any sense. I love Ace. I can't see Gene and Paul saying, "Hey, Ace, you can't play Shock Me, you can't play Parasite, you can't play Cold Gin." Oh, Ace, well, I wrote the songs. You know, I can't do my Shock Soul. I can't see it. If it happens, no doubt I'll be there. But one of those magical things that could happen. It would be cool, but I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think it's going to. It's probably sell a couple of hundred more tickets, but that's about it. It's not going to be. They're going to play these huge stadiums as they supposedly.
No,
that rumor
said. They're not playing any fucking stadiums. You know?
They need another headlining tour, which we hate. I hate personally. More, it's like less Kiss and more money to spend on a ticket. So if it's going to be a bigger tour, I wouldn't doubt it. If it's like you guys said too. Next year is Live 2 Love Gun 40th anniversary. Who opened up? Cheap Trick. They're going to have somebody like Cheap Trick, Judas Priest. Somebody's got to be a bigger name. And it's dark. And I don't want to keep going because that's another whole topic.
Yep. Just stupid rumors as usual. So. Let's get into today's topic. And actually, the European tour looks like it's selling pretty well. I was counting seats today, which is, of course, highly scientific.
One by one.
Yeah, one by one. We've actually had people who do that. They count the seats of tickets available, and it looks like a lot of the markets are doing very well. So that's exciting for European folk and, up yours, because I haven't seen Kiss in a while. Let's get into today's topic, and I'm just going to play a quick excerpt that'll hopefully set the stage for it.
You asked me once, Winston, what was in room 101. I told you that you knew already. Everyone knows. The thing that is in room 101 is the worst thing in the world.
All right, so episode 101, we're going to do a room 101. That's, of course, George Orwell's 1984, the movie with John Hurt. Room 101 is the room where the worst thing in the world exists, the most terrible thing for your personal fears, for whatever. It's also a fun British TV series, that you kind of reject stuff and send it to Room 101, which is what we're going to do today for episode 101, is what things in Kisstory do we think deserve to go to Kiss's very own Room 101, which is located on the lower levels of the Fortress of Solitude, somewhere near the Kiss Vault? These are things that we're going to take a revisionist, way of looking at Kisstory, possibly, and we're going to erase these from our personal Kisstories, and hopefully for you as well, because these are the worst things Kiss has ever committed. Crimes against Christianity, if you want to go there. I can't think of any other way to make it work. I'm going to throw my first one out there right now, and it's Read My Fucking Body is an abomination, a disgrace. It needs to be erased from the Kiss catalog. It needs to be removed from any further remasters of Hot in the Shade, and just get rid of it, edit it out, as Bruce would say. It's a transparently pathetic attempt to emulate Def Leppard's Pour Some Sugar on Me. It's a failure all around, and I want it gone. It's not worthy of Paul Stanley's vocal. Simple as that. Thoughts on that one? Ken, I'm going to go to you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have listed to that as one of them, but it's not one of their best attempts at a hit song, or trying to copy, like you said, Def Leppard. So that one, yeah, that's lower. That's way down in my list of Kiss's songs as for quality. But I kind of agree with you on that.
What would be one of your Room 101 rejects then? For
songs?
For anything you want.
All right, here's one. It's not a song, but it's the Gene Simmons mod look in the Asylum era, where he looks like Maude from Golden Girls or whatever, Maude from the other show. But anyway, it's just bad. I think when they took their makeup off and we're gonna go through the 80s, they should have just kept the makeup off completely. I mean, that means any kind of makeup. Don't put on the rouge and blush or whatever it may be, lipstick, whatever they were doing, and the stuff around the eyes. So they didn't need to do that. Even though a glam thing was kind of kicking in around the time, you had Poison and other stuff, but they didn't need to do that. They could have just kept it. They should have went to a Revenge era right then, instead of trying all this weird makeup kind of crazy stuff and outfits during the 80s.
Daniel, he just criticized Asylum. You got anything to say on that before you get to one of yours?
Well, it's easy to be wise in hindsight, Back in the day, when looking at the Tears Are Falling video back in '85, it looked real good, goddamn good. Paul Stanley was about the coolest guy around back then. So, but after a year or two, or even 10 years, it doesn't hold up. Of course, it don't. But one of my, I would have to say, The Elder. Some of us even wrote a book about that goddamn thing, but it's what a mistake. What a mistake. I've read that book. It's a fine accomplishment, but to spend that much time writing a book about The Elder, I'm impressed, Julian. I'm totally impressed. Next time, write something about a good album, Asylum or Revenge.
Well, I guess I could have written a very successful book on French military successes, but instead I prefer to do failures like The Elder.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't get Elder. I have never understood it. The falsetto singing to the fun. What's the name of the instrumental tracks over there? And I don't like it at all. I know some of you do, but to me, it's not a Kiss album. Even though a song like "A World Without Heroes," of course, is a great song, but some of the rest are just like you want to puke.
Well, hey Daniel, Julian's going to write another book, a romance novel now. It's going to be called "Fits Like a Glove." You might want to pick that up.
And it's a sequel, Hot Knife Through Butter. So, since you've gone on a progressive one there, that naturally is a segue to Mark. Mark, what would be, one of your 101s?
Well, the funny thing is, when we were discussing doing this whole Room 101 thing, I actually decided to venture out and find this Room 101. So I discovered this 101 room, and when I went in there, I found a bunch of interesting shelves with signs on it, like this one here.
Uh-oh.
Bob shit, do not touch or mention again. Now, what was on this shelf? Destroyer.
Oh my God.
And The Elder.
Oh.
Wow. Oh my.
So, obviously, those two things, you know how it is. Whatever Bob Ezrin touches just turns into poop, right? So, you don't want to have those things mentioned much longer, especially on such a fine podcast as we have here. We want to talk about great things like Asylum and Rock and Roll Over and the first 3 albums, but Destroyer, I'd rather just erase that from my memory once and for all. It's just such a terrible studio album. And Elder, like I said, I fully support Julian Gill and all his book writing. He's one of the finest rock authors I've ever read, and the book on the Elder is fantastic. But we all know it's weak, and the only reason why it's weak, the album, is because Bob did it. If it would have been anybody else who was involved in this album, I think it would have been 100,000 times stronger. Could you imagine an Elder produced by Eddie Kramer? It would have been fantastic. It would have prevented him from doing all these kind of falsetto singing, like Daniel pointed out. He would have put in some much more of Ace's playing into it, I guarantee you, and it would have been just something that we would have heralded and loved.
Would have been more like Tommy or something?
Well, who knows? Even Tommy would have been better, don't you think? But I personally think that Bob is the problem in this whole mess. So it was very interesting to find that shelf. I ran into a couple of other shelves, but we'll get to those later.
Yeah, I'm absolutely stunned. I want to save a lot of the discussion about the Elder for an Elder specific podcast. But I just do want to make clear that the majority of Odyssey is Tim McFate. Thank you for mentioning me, but for the amount of work that went into that book, the vast majority of that, and even the vast majority of the interviews were conducted by Tim, transcribed by Tim, edited by Tim. So you got to give him his shout out and kudos for everything that you just said. That was very kind to me. Applies more so to Tim. Andy, you managed to be quiet for, going on several minutes now. So, what do you got to say to all that? And, give us one of your things in history that you would really like to see removed.
Well, I'm trying to chill a little bit because I've seen some of the things here and there say I'm a little bit too off the wall at times.
Hey, be yourself and, caffeine it up.
That's key, if I went to something, man, I'm there to celebrate it. If I'm telling you, if you can't be excited about Kiss in 2016 from when they started in 73, man, you might as well just get off the boat, if you know what I mean. Come on now, really. So anyways, I had to think about it from when I grew up as a child, okay? I'm 47 now. So when Kiss came, they could do no wrong when I was a child. So nothing in those first years could be anything wrong. It didn't matter what they did, what they sold. It didn't matter because when you grew up in an age, you didn't care. And you used to see things in magazines and stuff. But then as you start getting a little bit older, so my kind of list goes as I start getting older and then you can kind of go back. But for me, the first years was just really nothing really wrong because it all, I guess, depending on your age. If you just grow up now and you're just getting into Kiss, you might say, oh, man, Monster's awesome, Sonic Boom's awesome, but some of us might go, But anyways, since, I'm going to start early on. The worst thing that when I was growing up, because I was about 11 and a half by then, and then you kind of understand it by then it was 1980. And we've all heard about, oh, yeah, Kiss sucks and this and that. Come on, we've all heard it. This was the worst thing they could have ever done, period, on an album. I was blown away at 11 and a half going, what the frick is this at the end? Oh. They still stink on a Kiss album? What were they doing? Who the hell let that get by? How did Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter let that get by? I still say they stink. After all these years, are you kidding me? Burn that guy. He looks like Howdy Doody. Stick the stabbing for even freaking making that. It should be just blanked out. It should be Kiss, and the crowd goes wild once again. The end. Don't put they still stink. Are you nuts? That should be erased from history, period. What were they thinking? I don't know. End of story. So my thing is not just songs. I like the songs, even though it was a pop album. It wasn't huge in the United States, but come on, man. Every Kiss fan that was a diehard Kiss fan didn't want to see Howdy Doody saying, man, they still stink at the end. Screw you. What the hell are they thinking? Next.
Yep. Wow. What can I say to that? Let's go from one animated character to the next. Daniel, let's have a second pick from you or a response to Unmasked.
Yes, the Unmasked thing is kind of. I think it was Ken way back, he talked about how the Unmasked album cover should look like, what it should look like, and it should reveal them unmasked on the inside of the, when you fold it up. That would have been a good album. And of course, they wouldn't have been unmasked. They would have, shown off their makeup. I haven't been talking English for a few months now, so I'm kind of rusty. I'm just warming up here, Well, something that I didn't like was when they hired a certain guy on guitar. He had a lot of talent, and he was quite a good songwriter, but he had zero charisma. And that guy was Bruce Kulick.
Ooh.
You guys, yeah. He was so loyal. You could always depend on him. He even wrote songs. He was always there. He didn't cross Paul or Gene anytime. He just did as he was told, followed orders. But he had zero and none charisma. And back then they needed someone to step in and pick up some of the, Paul and Gene needed something more than just Paul and Gene. And Bruce wasn't the guy to do it. I like Bruce, but they would have needed someone else with a lot more flash and balls to pick up, what do you say? Pick up the
slack.
Slack.
Yeah,
Slack.
exactly. Pick up the slack. Yeah.
Like Yngwie Malmsteen.
No.
Even
Even though he's from Sweden, I wouldn't like to see him in the band. But
You know,
someone
Daniel-
who could do anything else than stand like this on stage.
yeah, but Daniel, they didn't want to hire someone that would take the limelight away from Gene and Paul.
Yeah, I know why
They
they
wanted
did.
to be the stars
Yeah,
on the stage.
Of course I knew it. But that's one of the big problems in Kiss, that they couldn't share the limelight,
They
If
still
they
don't
could have-
share limelight. Are you kidding me? Tommy stands here like a brick stone too. Tommy doesn't have no charisma.
Tommy is it's about the
No.
same, I would say. Tommy's a little bit better on stage than Bruce was.
Well, but Bruce never got into a costume and makeup, so that would be kind of a different thing too, I would imagine. No?
Yeah. Bruce was always a good player on stage. It always sounded great. The Creatures of the Night solo with Bruce Kulick sounds great. The
Did you just hear it?
Solo with Tommy Taylor is like, not on par.
Agree, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can already tell that the video on this is going to be an absolute nightmare. So I do apologize in advance to anyone watching this episode later, because I've bit off more than I could chew.
How do you want us to sit? Like this or like that?
Oh,
What's best?
just as long as you're in the middle of the camera. But one of the things, someone mentioned covers and Unmasked. I think, that's a great one, and I love the conversation that we had way back where we discussed an alternative for that. But I want to throw a pick out there that I would love to see sent to Room 101, and that is the Asylum cover. Not the album, just that cover, because it has poisoned people's opinions of what I really, really, really feel is a fine album. For 1980s Kiss, obviously I've said over and over again how it's one of my favorite albums, and it's so important to me as a Kiss fan because it's my entry point into the band and being a fan. So, obviously I'm poisoned, I'm biased on that. But I think a lot of people just judged it by that atrocious cover, even though I actually, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's a bit dated. It's certainly better than putting B. Arthur on the cover. But if they did a little bit more, if they did like a photograph at one of the photo shoots and had just done that as the cover, I don't think that would have been received that much better, especially when you look at the back cover with the artistic flourishes that are kind of applied to them as a portrait. But anything but that, I think Asylum
Creatures
would
of
have
the
been,
Night, 85 reissue. That would have been one.
come on, that would have been a great cover for Asylum.
Yep.
So I think the album would have done better, even if it was a little bit visually impaired, shall we say, kind of boring, run-of-the-mill, just here's a fucking photo of the band slapped on the cover of the album. I think it would have gotten more respect from Kiss fans and maybe music fans in the long run had they not been given the opportunity to kind of judge it with their eyes first before ever getting the vinyl out and slamming it on their turntable. They're already annoyed by it by the time they see the cover, and, get rid of it. Simple as that. Replace it with something far better, and the album doesn't do any better sales-wise, but, we don't have people bitching about it 30 years later. Mark.
I love Asylum. I love Asylum. I don't know what it is. I like it. I like the cover. I know it sounds weird. I don't know what it is. But it still had that raunchy. It was still, some of this music was still heavy on it. And the tour was great. I think I look at it as like the whole picture. The tour was great and everything else. I don't know. For me personally, I like this album. I still do. I don't know. That's basically my favorite I'd say hair band 80s Kiss. It's my favorite album from them. Point blank. It's just cool.
I don't know how that guy kept his job. The one who was in charge of the covers. What's the name of
Dennis?
That guy?
Dennis Willock?
Exactly. Because after Creatures of the Night, well, maybe Lick It Up to some extent, but after that, when did they ever have a good cover again? I'm not sure. Revenge was kind of cool, but I don't know if it was great.
It's not a good cover. Psycho Circus is a good cover, but I don't think that's something to do with Dennis.
Do you think so? That's another discussion.
Animalize is garbage as a cover.
Well, that was that's one of my things as it was going on, because I say, like, I want to do it by year as the years came on. Like, my next one is Lick It Up cover. They should have never taken off the makeup, period. I know why they did it, because they said, they were losing popularity, losing that. They were still playing smaller places anyways. They should have kept the makeup one more year. They were going out with the Tank anyways. Use the Tank. Go out with Lick It Up. Lick It Up was ended up being a popular song, and still played to nowadays. All these years later, it's still played, and still people love it. They should have kept the makeup one more time. They had an awesome that cover, as you've seen some bootleg covers of what they would look like if they just did that. If they left the Creatures thing on there for that album cover, that would have so much kicked ass looking, and fixed the back cover and put something on a little bit on the back. I think that would have been primo. That album would have even sold more copies. It would have been more popular. I guarantee it.
So it might have gone gold before 1994, or whenever it actually went gold. I mean,
no, Lick It Up went platinum
eventually.
Well, it just
eventually,
and then take off the makeup for Animalize, which basically that front album cover's got to go. Who the hell wants a freaking, what is that? A zebra leg in there? I'm like, what the hell is this? When I saw that, I'm like, they should have took the back part of the cover and put that on the front, and then take the back and then do something else on the back, put stuff around it on the edges, like they did like Hotter Than Hell. Some zebras or something, some markings and stuff, and make the Kiss logo big. They shrunk the Kiss logo. That's not the Kiss thing. The Kiss thing is usually big. They should at least took that back picture that was on Animalize and put it on the front. That was
Sorry,
Mark.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, I don't agree with the whole makeup thing. I think that their makeup thing was totally dead. They needed to do something. Nobody gave a shit about Kiss then at that point. So they needed to get people's attention back at that point. And I think one of the ways you do it is with the makeup. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the makeup, and I love Lick It Up, the record. But I still think Creatures is 100,000 times better record. And if that didn't sell with their makeup on, what would have made Lick It Up that much more stronger with the makeup on then? So, but who knows? That's just us speculating. For all we know, maybe Andy might be right. Maybe if they did keep it on, maybe it would have went through the roof. Who knows, right? But getting to my choice now, as I went through that very ominous room there, I came across another interesting shelf there with another interesting sign on it. What was he thinking? And on that shelf was this.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to have Bob Ezrin on that shelf.
The Peter Criss solo album.
Peter Criss solo album, yes. Now, of course, I'm sure I don't have to go into great detail as to why this was put on that shelf, but, the opportunity was there to do a solo record. I know the whole thing what they're saying, Peter wanted to just do something that was his roots and wanted to show his stuff of what he liked and what he was influenced by and stuff like that, and that all makes sense, but come on. If you're going to be competing with, your bandmates who are all also releasing solo records, you want to try to make a strong record that's going to compete with those things. I mean, really, did he think that what he had on this is going to compete with Ace Frehley's record or is going to compete with Paul Stanley's record, or even possibly, compete with Gene's. Maybe it could a bit with Gene's because Gene's kind of was a little weak, but, it's still a lot better than this, in my opinion. But frankly, and I mean, really ask yourself this. If this record wouldn't have come out, if something happened, let's say the masters got destroyed and we're sorry, guys, only 3 solo albums came out, would people have really cried about it? I don't think they really would have, because, I mean, after hearing this, I mean, Jesus, I mean, just terrible.
You could put Gene's in the trash as well.
Oh.
Yeah, only 2 of them. But what I would like to say about Peter Criss, to me, he was one of the luckiest guys around, He was a cool player from 75 to maybe 77, 78, somewhere around Japan. He lost it, kind of. And, oh no, what happened now?
Here we go.
I just think the lights just everything just went blank.
Yeah, we just
might have lost power.
We just lost.
Wow, that looks like a creepy Room 101 picture there. Look at that.
It looks like
That's
Creatures
cool.
of the Night.
All right.
Wow.
Well, since Daniel is indisposed or whatever at the time. All right, so in talking about the makeup, you guys are talking about the makeup, album cover and stuff, but I was thinking Room 101, throw in there is having Ace Frehley and Peter Criss not selling their rights to the makeup. Throw that in there because they shouldn't have sold them.
Wow.
Sold that. I mean, they designed that makeup. Come on, they designed it. They were fine-tuned it over the years. That's their character. I think they should have kept it, and they could have been selling it, the rights, licensing or whatever, back to Kiss and make some money. And who knows, if Gene and Paul maybe wouldn't have gone for that, we would have maybe seen some new makeup on Eric Singer or Tommy Thayer for that matter, some new characters. Because I don't think they wanted to see. I don't think Paul Stanley ever wants to see Kiss die. Obviously, he's going to keep it going. He kept it going throughout the '80s. So, yeah, it was limping a little bit here and there, but he kept it going. He didn't give up, and I think they would have kept going. And so I would have liked to have seen them retain their rights to the makeup, their ownership of it, and it would have been interesting to see what would have happened.
Yeah, that's a really fascinating one to really consider. If you think about just some of the bad decisions that Peter and Ace made, just imagine how much control they would have had over Gene and Paul if they had retained those rights. I mean, it would have made the discussions about the reunion a whole lot more interesting. If they had that in their pocket, and particularly after the 5-year contract ran out for the reunion, imagine. Today, Tommy and Eric, I mean, you're not going out on tour unless we're paid, or, I'm sure there's some legal ways around it, but, it still would have been fascinating had they not, completely given up everything that they kind of creative, so.
I never thought of that one, but yeah, I mean, that would have been a killer. Yeah, but we might not have any Kiss today if they didn't sell it either. So it's a double-edged sword, yeah.
No.
But on Mark's thing about the Peter Criss solo album and stuff, I have to check those out because I consider them really solo albums. They're not really Kiss albums in a way. Even though they have the Kiss logo on them, they're really technically solo albums. So don't really want to throw those into the bug, under the bug of AKA Kiss, you know what I mean, in a way? So that's another double-edged. That's another topic we can get. That's another thing, right?
I thought Mark would have picked a different Peter Criss album than that one. I mean, that's basically Peter Criss's best album, right?
Oh, no.
Of all solo albums, that's his best solo album.
No, I don't think so.
But, yes, it is.
No.
It's my opinion.
I think that's a lot better because of all the help that he had in creating that album.
Sure.
I don't consider it a solo album as such, because so much was done for him. But I think otherwise it would have been a situation that there was no Peter Criss solo album, and that might have been a good thing. It might have forced them to take the best songs from the other three and just make a frickin' 1978 Kiss album.
Yes.
You know, and
Best of the solo albums.
and Peter could have said, "I'm quitting the band unless you let me sing When You Wish Upon a Star." You know, who the, just imagine. I mean, you know, take any of the songs from Paul, Gene, and Ace and say which one of those would, you know, Peter's voice have worked well on, his vocals. I think there's probably a couple on Ace's. In
Oh my
particular.
God, Ace has so many killer. Ace's solo album it's money.
Oh yeah, I mean, but it's more likely going to be an Ace song that Peter gets to do a vocal on. If you just look back historically, can you see Paul giving up "Move On"? You know, at that point,
Maybe Hold Me, Touch Me,
when they hate each other,
Give up
basically. So I mean
that's true.
I mean that's actually, you know, maybe a topic for another, you know, episode. You know, make a 1978 Kiss album from all that stuff, but. I'm going to throw my next one out there, and that is Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Oh.
And while I've come to at least appreciate this for the kitsch of what it is, what it was, what it wanted to be, but what it wasn't. So,
good choice.
You know, what it tried to be and what it accomplished are two different things. It obviously was their first effort, but it was just so bad. At some point when they should have done test screenings and seen these guys actually act, because they don't. They're just crap. Yeah. They should have looked at the script and said, well, it's crap. They should have looked at every single aspect of this and say it's an embarrassment. You know, rather than doing it for the sake of doing it, I think it does more damage to Kiss and their credibility, and it's really kind of things go pear-shaped after Kiss Meets the Phantom. You have them trying to be friendly to the kids. You have teenagers kind of abandoning the band. Then you have them going off into their pop disco, you know, Luther Vandross kind of crap music. Well, I mean, Vinnie Poncia produced instead of being a rock band. And
Super Kiss.
Yeah, Super Kiss, and everything that it represents is kind of the hinge point for me is Kiss Meets the Phantom, that they went Hollywood, that they actually took that seriously. It's just staggers the mind. I mean, did they not watch it? Did they not say, where was the quality control? Where was the devil's advocate saying, guys, I really, really don't think this is such a good idea. We need body doubles to do the acting. We need voiceovers to do the voices, and basically, let's make this movie with another band, not you guys.
I think what they heard probably is, you know, they heard that thing where they told them, you know, this movie's going to be
too many
like,
yes men.
Yeah, but they were told this movie's going to be like Star Wars meets the Beatles, you know, like, you know, Hard Day's Night or something like that. It's more like Plan 9 from Outer Space meets, you know, HR Puff and stuff, you know. It's something like that. No,
this is more like letting second graders put on their own production. Yeah. I'm sorry. Right. I mean, it's like something out of South Park. It's just it's.
Yeah, but when you were a kid, though, you were sitting there on your parents' living room floor, going like this, Mom, Dad, Kiss Meets the Phantom's going to be on tonight. Kid all day long, running around in the leaves all day because it's Halloween, and you're like, can't wait till Halloween's done, get all your candy, you're all juiced up, and Kiss is going to be on TV, because you never really get to see Kiss on TV at times in the early days. So when you actually did get to see Kiss, prime time, I mean, you might be able to see Kiss, but it was either 12, 1 o'clock, whatever, late in the morning, but Kiss Meets the Phantom was prime time on television. Every kid is going, oh yeah, there's Kiss. Oh, look at Kiss, got to be on. You know what I mean? So when you're like that age, you didn't give a crap what it sounded like, what it was like. You just wanted to see them on TV.
And that is my problem with it. Because of those kids. For me, rock and roll was about my age group. It was about teen, was about rebellion, was about that. Not about 5 and 6 year olds who want to dress up and go trick and treating as Kiss and watch some very safe, very corny, very, you know, just piece of garbage. And that's complete revisionism. You know, it's not reality. It's nothing to do with it. It just, to me, illustrates the ultimate shift between what Kiss started off as a dangerous rock and roll band, and the fully commercial, so over thought out, so sold out kind of joke that it became. Daniel, I want to go to you before we lose you again.
But I think they sold out quite quickly. I mean, after Alive 2, maybe things started to go sour to me, at least. You know, Peter Criss's solo album and Dynasty, Unmasked, The Elder. It was like a slope going downwards. So they were starting to chase trends, and if you want to see more about that, you can look up an episode called, what's that episode when we talked about Kiss following trends? That was a good episode.
Did we do that?
It's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere. Yeah, that's a good episode, because they weren't leading anymore. They were following trends, and that's one of the biggest problems, that they sold out so quickly, sort of. They didn't, wanted to take a chance. They wanted to make money. And that was pretty clear from, after Live 2. So that's a big problem. What are you saying, Andy?
Yeah, who's kind of the blame on that? Who wants to make money? The band wants to make money and do shows, but who's really is it? Is the Acoin management? Acoin management basically owned everything. They're the ones who basically did the products and basically put Kiss name on everything and anything when you were a kid.
Well, I think if Ace Frehley had been the main guy, you would never have seen the band going that way.
Yeah.
Paul and Gene, quite quickly they became more of a businessmen than rock and rollers. So you would have liked Ace Frehley to be in the driver's seat. Well, maybe not.
But Bill Acoin admitted that even Paul Stanley did not like all the toys, all the stuff and stuff. Like in the beginning, he hated it, but in the long run, it worked out well because they make a lot of money off that
money.
Yeah, but they needed. But don't forget, though, they needed the money because look at how much they were getting into, debt at the time. They were spending so much money and burning so much cash. By the end of it, they hardly had anything to show for it. So if they didn't have all these things, then they would have been completely dead in the water a long time ago. Agreed.
Yeah, without a doubt. They had no. Even Gene said he had no idea, where the money was or who was on. He just, what I mean. They just did what they wanted to do it, whatever they wanted to do it. If I wanted to go here, somebody pick me up, somebody drive me. They take us anywhere we want to go, any money. We snap our fingers and here we go. We do whatever we want, what we want, when we want. That was, Gene and Paul admitted. They admitted it. Even they all admitted it. They could do whatever they want, but they didn't know where the money was.
I think that's completely false, because there are enough memos that okay, they don't circulate, enough memos from band meetings that suggest that various members were getting called out in the band business meetings for spending habits that were being charged to the band. Ace in guitars, Paul in guitars, other costs. I'd have to go through a lot of the memos and pull out direct quotes, but there was a lot of shit that they were talking about, accounting for this. Where are these expenses being billed? But I think definitely the overall point that you're making is absolutely correct, that they had no idea, particularly I think after Glickman Marx enters the picture, of where all their money was going. They were seeing things in band meetings that Glickman is investing in this, investing in that. And obviously that bit them in the ass in '87 with the coal mine or whatever it was, the tax havens. So, dumb business decisions by people who are not businessmen, by the money managers, is certainly something that hurt the band in the long run. But it also made the reunion possible. So, kind of.
Well, and I think when the reunion happened, I always thought when Kiss played the Who's Won't Get Fooled Again, and that was the reason why that song played before Kiss came on. It always in my mind thought that they will never get screwed over ever again, and that's why they play that song. Not only just a tribute to the Who, as a thing, thinking in the background, we're not going to get fooled again. Nobody's going to screw us. We're going to deal with our right. We're the Kiss company now. We bought the rights. It's our business. You either do it or we hit the highway. And I swear to God, I don't know why, but that was my reason thinking about that song when they played the Who's Won't Get Fooled Again. And it just seems to fit the bill right. All right, that's another difference there. But
well, they totally fooled themselves. Mark, let's go to your Room 101.
Okay. So, again, as we go through the the room again, came to another interesting shelf.
Bob Ezrin.
Waste of
Wait,
paper.
Waste of paper. Now, what could that possibly be? Well, when we're talking about books, there could be only one that's a waste of paper.
Oh.
Oh, Mark. You know, for Christmas this year, I'm going to send you a shovel.
Well, let me explain. For a guy who saw so much and did so much in the band, I mean, granted, he probably doesn't remember half of it, which is my whole point. Okay? When you write a book, you're supposed to write about the high points and the low points of your career. He had so many opportunities to write about so many things that people wanted to read about, or stuff that I wanted to know about, like the recording of some of these records, some of the things that happened while they were doing it, and some of the great things that happened during the tours and stuff like that. He doesn't really tell me a whole hell of a lot in this book, really. I mean, the best stuff was probably more near the beginning. Then there was like a whole bunch of stuff about him going to see King Tut in that exhibition there, and like, come on, I mean, to me, it's a waste of paper. I mean, even Peter Criss's book went into more detail about stuff than his did. He talks about him and Anton Fig drinking that cough syrup and getting all wired on it, and then going fishing and stuff. I mean, come on, I want to hear stuff about what happened in the band and stuff. While there is that in there, I just think that overall, this to me is my least favorite book out of the four that came out. And that's why I think in Room 101, they put up that little sign there, rightfully, that is probably a waste of paper, because they could have put so much more into this, gave me so much more to read, made me so much more happier than what this was.
Well, I guess you'll just have to look forward to his next book.
That's what I was just going to say. Number two.
Right.
Two is on the way. Yeah.
Still no regrets.
Oh boy.
Ken, let's go to you on.
Yeah, I was thinking about Kiss's rights to, because I started thinking about the makeup and stuff, but then now I'm thinking about their rights to their own music. I think they shouldn't have sold that out where Universal owns their music, right? Recorded music. I think if Kiss would have retained that, we could have then gotten a lot more cooler stuff or releases coming out. Maybe they could have done either on their own. Maybe they could have gone to another record company, or have their own release, their own record company, Kiss Records or whatever, and release some cool stuff, cool packages, live, well, bootlegs of course too, but cool packages where deluxe editions where they can just do whatever the heck they want. And poor Daniel is
I'm still here
in the dark. Oh, he's alive. So that's one thing I'm thinking, because to me the music is the most important thing for Kiss, and for me at least. And I would have liked to have had some really cool special re-releases, packages. I mean, the Love Gun Deluxe could have been
deluxe.
Think about what it could have been. A lot, but yeah, it could have been a real deluxe. I mean, in the big box maybe, and who knows what else, So that's them losing their music rights is 101 thing for me.
Sadly, I think a lot of the problems with Kiss is laziness. But one of the interesting things on the publishing, and I don't know all the details, I don't understand the business well enough to really do anything more than kind of blindly comment, and that's when they sold out to Hori. I don't know what effect that really has, on the publishing arm. I put up a video I guess it's maybe a couple months ago, from the Vegas residency, and Universal put a copyright claim on that. And I was very kind of bemused and confused by that, because, number one, I recorded the audio, so they can't possibly own a live recording of the song was Creatures of the Night that's on it. So they can't own that in any way, because they've never released the live version of Creatures of the Night from the Las Vegas residency. And if they did, they didn't record that night. And then the publishing side, I was always under the impression that Hori kind of owned the publishing, and that was why they got the money in the first place. So, you know, I think Kiss controlling it would have made more sense. I mean, think of Motley Crue when they got their masters back. I mean, and that's a totally different thing to the publishing or any of that side of the kind of the what you were talking about. Imagine if Kiss owned their own masters. They could do absolutely anything they wanted, and I don't think we would be having these discussions. And I think Robert Conti talked a lot about this in the Three Sides interview, you know, for all that shit that they recorded and all the reels and masters and all that, which falls under the contract. Just imagine if Kiss had all those. Well, they probably would have ended up in a fucking warehouse that they didn't pay the rent on and would have all been out there by now. So, you know, just like happened previously. So that's a great thing to kind of consider, you know, your point, Ken. So, who's next? You know, I always feel like I got to go back to Daniel every time because his lights flicker.
Or his lights.
Poor man.
Oh, in charge of everything.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Explain.
I like this.
Explain.
Nice, very nice.
I already get
I
it.
looked in my room 101 and I found another great book by the author. You know, that one with the pigs. That's a good one. Animal Farm. And next to that one, I saw this note: Paul in charge of everything. And that's one of the biggest mistakes to me that the band ever did. It becomes more and more clear. And when you see interviews these days with Paul, he's so far away from being a rock star, and he's so out of touch with the rock and roll scene. So it's almost incredible. This guy was the coolest guy around back when I was a kid, and now he's like this old fuck making pizzas, thinking he's a cool guy. I think it's terrible. You need someone else to be in charge.
His pizza?
You know, look at his Twitter, for example. It's horrible. He wants to portray himself as this family man, and I have this lovely family, and that's his image nowadays. Who cares? I mean, be Paul Stanley, the old rock star once again, not Paul Stanley, the old man.
Well, yeah,
And I think it has a terrible effect on the band as well. If you look at Monster, if anyone says to Paul, well, this is not a really good track, I'm the one in charge. I say it's good. You have no say. I think it is like that in the studio. I don't think he listens to anyone. What? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that you nailed it right on the head, though. That's exactly the problem. Is because if it's his way or the highway, then there's really no way to collaborate and to make something stronger. If it's just one person at the helm steering everything all the time, it's not good. You need input sometimes from people as well. You know, and input is good. I mean, you know, even in my situation that I'm doing my stuff by myself, but I like even going on my own Facebook, as you guys know, and asking people their opinion on certain things too. I don't like to do stuff always by myself. It's nice to get some outside opinion from people, because sometimes you get better ideas, some new perspective on stuff. And if you don't, did I get cut out there?
Yeah, sorry.
Just a little bit.
Okay, well, okay, sorry. Well, I don't know where I cut out, but I was just saying that basically, if you don't have outside people's opinions helping you, then you're just going to get what we have there. Monster and Sonic Boom. No way to make it better, you know?
Yeah, you know, constructive criticism is exactly that. You know, it's criticism, and you have to be able to take the positive viewpoint along with the negative. Otherwise, don't ask for someone else's opinion. Simple as that. So, I'm going to throw my next one out there, and I'm going to say the solo albums.
Wow.
Different
subject. That's solo.
You know, and again, it's probably better off as a standalone topic about making a 1978 Kiss album. But I think the whole project was just so ego-driven, so crazy. I'm going to leave out of the discussion that the band were having problems and they, you know, needed time away, even though the groundwork had all been set years before for them to do solo recordings as a contractual and all that bullshit. We've talked about it, you know, so many times on the Gene Ace Peter Paul show and whatnot. But I think the ego transcends just the band into Casablanca and Neil Bogart pressing and overpressing. I think it just set such a bad precedent for the band that they got away with whatever, and putting out some pretty mediocre stuff. I mean, Gene's is very patchy. I like some of it. Paul's is strong. Ace's is strong. Peter's, I'll admit that I do like parts of it, but I think in overpressing and putting so many copies of the albums out that it ultimately did so much harm to Casablanca. It did so much harm to Kiss economically, to be shown to be an utter failure and something of a laughing stock that here's all these fucking Kiss albums in cutout bins that we just can't sell, getting sold on for 97 cents. Really turns them into a bit of a joke, over commercialized, overhyped. It really is kind of the land of hype and glory. Look at the band. I'm not going to say that they wouldn't have gone that way without the solo albums, but the solo albums are really an advertisement for everything that was wrong for Casablanca, the band, maybe the country, the world, the universe.
So. But the thing is, it probably hurt them a little bit, probably a lot, is because there were 4 of them at the same time. Back then when you were a kid, how much was the album? If it wasn't $10, was it?
No,
you could afford one at a time.
They had a list price, but most of the time these are advertised at $4.97 in many places, and that's in September 1978. So no one was paying retail, or should have been.
Yeah, but but if you were a kid back then, you had to either pick one, or you maybe were lucky to pick 2 as a kid, and then you had to wait X amount of months or until the next Christmas or whenever to get the other 1 or 2. So basically, you picked your favorite guy if you had a favorite guy. That killed him automatically.
Yeah, just think of the poor fucker who could only buy 1 album, and he picked Peter Criss's. I mean, God. I mean, Pete. We're not going to get into the artistic side of Peter's album because we've gone over that. But just think of the rock fan who buys that, and all of a sudden you've got R&B, disco, blues. That's completely alien music, and that was your one fucking album that you could buy maybe for a month.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, but then you turn around and turn on the other scope, and then you get Ace Frehley's, and you go, holy mother of God, can this guy play? The guy can freaking write like crazy, and the songs are unbelievable. And there's there's really no crap on that album. It's unbelievable. So you turn around and look at the other expected on the road, you go, it's just unbelievable. I mean, I'm a huge Ace fan, but anybody, you throw that album to any just regular rock fan, don't tell them who it is, just throw the CD or whatever it is and say, hey, dude, just take a listen to this. And they're going to, by the time they end of that soul album, they're going to go, man, this is pretty freaking damn good. And it can still hold up to these days in 2016. Ace's album can still hold up to music these days. It's unbelievable what he could do, and how effed up and screwed up he was too. On top of that, not only that, how messed up the guy was. I mean, unbelievable stuff. I mean, and Gene went his way, did his thing. He's thinking outside the box, and Paul did his thing, and Paul you would say, was more of a Kiss album. It is what it is, but.
Yeah. Ken.
Okay, here's another one. It's a book, and this one I did not even buy it.
Oh, I'm nervous.
But you read it.
Well, it's the Kiss Monster book.
And
that thing belongs in 101. That should have never been released. What the heck were they thinking?
Would it fit into Room 101?
Not always better.
Gene Simmons' idea.
Yeah, I don't think they all sold, first of all. Bigger is not always better, right?
Yeah, 5 sold.
Yeah, so what they should have done, and I wish they could still do, is take that book and reduce it into a nice, a little bit smaller version that we can enjoy and hopefully afford, because the price on that was totally outrageous also. There's no way I could see, purchasing that book. It's just you're not giving it to the Kiss fans just because most of the Kiss fans are not going to be able to buy it. It's too expensive. So they're just like I think Andy was pointing out that it's a money grab, some kind of money grab that they were trying to do there.
They did bring one on the Kiss cruise last year, and they actually opened one up, and you should have seen the crowd like run there, like stampede, and they were opening the page one by one. They're like, don't touch it, but they had a woman with gloves on, opening it up and showing everybody the pictures.
Gloves. That's just a...
No lie, because the thing is massive.
Like Dean's copy.
Oh yeah,
It's massive.
Its size is not in question. It could have been used as a fucking anchor on the cruise. I mean, come on.
Some of the pictures that we've already seen too in the past, and from what I understand, there's a lot of pictures from like the newer Kiss. The newer Kiss, and we all like to see these pictures that we've never seen before. Me personally, I want to see stuff I've never seen before. I don't want to see a picture I saw in 1976 blown up into a giant poster size that, I mean, if you got the money and you want to buy it, go for it. I mean, I can turn the computer around. You guys can look around here and, people laugh at me and say, holy crap, look at how much money you spent in it. But you know what? This is what I like to do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? This is my drug. If I like it, I'm going to buy it. If I don't want to buy it, then I won't just buy it. That's all. You don't have to buy it. And, some of these people, like we said before, we've had this discussion before. People, it's too expensive. Oh, I don't want this. Oh, my God. You don't have to open up your wallet and give them your credit card or take out a loan. It is what it is. Buy what you like. And, I see stuff. I'm like, cringe. I'm like, oh, my God, Hello Kitty. I'm like, oh, my God, that shit. That's one of my pet peeves, the Hello Kitty crap, People are like, hey, Andy, you see this Hello Kitty thing? I go, oh, yeah, I saw it. But I know what they're doing. They're trying to get a different graphic of people and kids and everything else. So if you want to buy it. It's always going to be the music is number one. I always want to hear music and stuff in music. All this stuff is just a celebration of the band. That's all. That's what I look at as I look at it.
I feel like a Paul Stanley rap's coming on right now with the motivational Paul Stanley lyric, hallelujah, Andy, But you mentioned something, and it's kind of indicative of my accusation that the band is willing to slap their fucking name on just about anything for the licensing fee. And Hello Kitty needs to go in room 101 with lighter fluid and matches, because that's some of the dumbest shit that. Well, actually, you could spray it down with Kiss perfume and just light the whole bunch on fire, because the perfume and Hello Kitty, it's just dumb fuck stuff. And I just don't get it. I don't like it. I just am embarrassed by that whole thing. Both of them. It's just, get it out. It's like Phantom of the Park merchandise. So
people look at my stuff and say, "Wow, that's pretty cool," and then they look at other stuff and go, "Oh my God, how could you buy that?"
I think they put their name on everything because they've got the Kiss Army down to a T. That they know there are so many people who buy 5 of something that they hoard it, that they open one, they put the rest mint in boxes, thinking that it's some goddamn investment for 5 years down the road, that they're going to be able to list their Kiss perfume on eBay and make money. And I think Kiss plays on that. They play on our addiction to buying anything with a Kiss logo, and I just find it kind of offensive, personally, even though I don't have any interest in it. I've never bought any of that crap. Never will.
I probably have one of the worst. Every time I look up online, I probably have the worst thing. If you look at the Kiss's worst products, one of the products I have is like one of the worst, is the casket. It's always up there in the number 1 or 2 spot. Well, you know what? Tough shit, people. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm gonna die someday. I gotta be put somewhere. I bought it.
Yeah, but that's the difference. You can use it.
Don't buy it.
Hello Kitty. Grown men buying Hello Kitty. I just find it staggering. I've got no issue with it. Like they said, it could be a fucking cooler, and then you can chill out in it in the afterlife. Whatever. And again, it all comes down to personal taste. You like this shit? Fine. Buy it. If it makes you happy, buy it. That doesn't mean that any of the rest of us or anyone else, can't laugh at it or can't be offended by it. I love the one from Monster Mini Golf that was posted up on Facebook this week, and that is the air guitar strings.
Oh, yeah.
That is making people's heads explode. I'm sorry for everything I've just said about Hello Kitty and all that other stuff that I've just, completely kind of railed against. I think the air guitar strings is absolutely brilliant. I mean,
that is
come on, $3.99. It's hilarious. And I'm not offended. I'm going to try and get one because it is Kiss is selling, or whoever they license is killing nothing. Danny, I want to get back to you because you've been silent for too long. So throw something out there.
Well, talking about the merchandise, I think they release a lot of crap. Even though I think that the casket is kind of cool, but it was way too expensive for an insane guy to get it.
But definitely.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, but way too expensive. I would say, that team Kiss, LA Kiss. What the hell was that? It was doomed. That's one Kiss that really was doomed. I mean, why the hell did they pick that one? The sport, I didn't even know it existed before I heard about LA Kiss. What was it called? It's not the NFL, it's something else.
XFL, arena football.
Never heard. Yeah, America. Yeah, never heard about it over here. So I saw some of it online, what they did, and it was just a terrible idea. But I don't want to talk about merchandise and football teams. I want to talk about Kiss. So I have picked this one.
Fire alarm.
Ron Nevison producing a Kiss album. I can never get over this one. They were kind of on a roll. They did Creatures, Lick It Up, half of Animalize is good, and Asylum. 82, 83, 84, 85. That's 4 years. Then they take some more time to make an album, and you're thinking, now things are really cooking. Now we're going to get something really good. And then they release Crazy Nights. And they leave off stuff like, that one with Paul. What's the name of it? Sword and Stone.
Yeah.
Just magnificent vocals on the demo. And they put stuff on the album like Bang Bang You. That's about the worst song to me. It's even worse than the one you mentioned in the beginning, Julian. From the Hits album.
Read My Body.
Yeah, exactly. Read My Body. I would have that higher than Bang Bang You, but none of them are really that good. So Ron Nevison, he kind of destroyed the album. He didn't want Sword and Stone on that album, from what I've heard from Bruce Kulick in some interview. But he decided Bang Bang You was a good idea. And then he did something to the album so it sounded really poppy and crappy and no metal at all. So, if they had a good sound on that album and made a few different choices when it comes to album tracks, I think it could have been a good album. But now, to me, and Gene Simmons trying to sound like Paul Stanley is another thing. Well, Gene, you should be trying to try to sound sexy and be like a sweet singing guy like Paul is. Some of his best singing is on Crazy Nights, but you don't want Gene to sound like that. You want him to sound like, Burn Bitch Burn or something. That's the way I want to hear my Gene, not like trying to be like them. And even in the photos, Gene was totally out of it during that period, trying to look, with the lips and everything, trying to look good.
Pouty lip Gene?
Yeah, pouty lip Gene. It never worked for me. So Ron Nevison and the whole Crazy Nights era, that's a thing that you can talk about.
That's a really good one. And I think let's go for one more before we wrap this up. And I'm going to go on a similar vein as you, and that's Bruce Fairbairn. As much as I would like to say erase Psycho Circus from the band's history, I think what it ends up being is, song-wise, there's some good music on there, simple as that. But I think going outside of the known Kiss producers was a mammoth mistake. So we need to put Bruce into Room 101, and he can hang out with the LA Kiss. I mean, obviously he's gone, now, but... get rid of him. He should never have been producing a Kiss album. I mean, I don't know what on earth they were thinking, and there's been enough interviews on it, but I still don't know what they were thinking. I mean, it was as bad a decision as they'd done with Ron Nevison, for who,
Bob Ezrin.
well, with who he had produced and the kind of stuff he'd done, his catalog did not speak well for going and working with Kiss on a reunion album. The reunion album really should have only have been Eddie. Simple as that. I think you would have gotten a little less trouble out of Ace if Eddie was involved. Regardless of contractual issues and any of the shit that they were fighting about, I think Eddie could have been a peacemaker and could have gotten more out of Ace and maybe more compliance, more creativity out of him. And everything's easy in hindsight. You kind of understand what they're doing on one hand, but I think it was just such a mistake to do any album without having one of Kiss's, real previous producers, which you can only do Eddie Kramer. So, Andy, let's go to you for your final pick.
Oh my God, final pick? I actually have a couple, and it kind of drives me nuts. Can I do it quick? And I'm just throwing it in there just to throw it in. I have to throw this. The Alive 3 audience is so fake. Get rid of that. Dump it.
Right after I talk about Eddie, right? Okay.
No, wait a minute. No, I'm just saying, though, the Alive 3 audience just sounds so fake, it's horrible. I don't understand that. I agree with Daniel. Crazy Nights is basically a Paul Stanley solo album with guest Gene Simmons and poor Eric Carr's drums. Just shoot me. That album, the tour, everything was just, it was all Paul Stanley. It had nothing to do with Kiss. It was all Paul Stanley. One of my really pet peeves out of that Kiss Japan stuff with those little kids. What the hell was that? Throw that away. The Sonic Boom, okay? The CD, the remakes they put in Sonic Boom. What the hell would they think of that? That stuff sucks, man. I listened to that once, man. I want to step on that CD. What a terrible job those guys did. Leave it alone. I don't care what you say. Leave those songs alone. But my last one, though, is the Creatures remake, Creatures of the Night remake. What was that? That is so confusing. What were they thinking? They said they did it because the album sales weren't that great from the original one. So you take another photo and do a whole new album and remake a couple of the songs. I just don't get that. That Creatures of the Night should be thrown out in the dust. There's no offense to Bruce or anything, because I love Bruce. Bruce is a great guitarist, but I just don't understand why they did that. And the last thing on my little list here, as we're throwing things out, is I love the Kiss Cruises, is the price tag. I want to throw the price tag and throw in the garbage. They need to take the price down so the real fans, I keep saying that, this is for the diehards, this and that. It's all about, now it's, as you've seen all through the years, it's who's got the most money, who can buy the most guitars, who can buy those drums, buy this extra. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've already said it, it's a great time on the Kiss Cruise, but the price-wise, just to get on it, is just a little bit too expensive. I wish they dropped some of the prices. So that's my list.
Hey, Andy, brother, I mean, you got that all out in 2 minutes flat. Righteous.
Record.
Mark, let's go to you for your final.
Well, my final one is outside of the room because I met Daniel in there and he took over the room a little bit there, so I let him meander around there. So my last one is really just one that I've had for a little while, actually. Now, I've become a great fan of the first record. I've always loved the first album. But one thing that kind of really bothered me about it, and that I thought should be in the Room 101, is that they should have, imagine this, if they would have left off Kissing Time and Love Theme, that album would have been absolutely perfect, that record. If they would have left those two songs off of it and released it as an 8-song record like that, wow, I think that would have been absolutely fantastic. So for me, I would have shit-canned Kissing Time and Love Theme.
Wow.
I think I agree with you there, Mark, except
definitely.
the fact that Kissing Time, they didn't need to do that. Love Theme should have been the full Acrobat deal. That would have been a better thing.
Or simply substitute them for the two songs that were kind of left off, Watching You and Let Me Go Rock and Roll. I mean, just think of that with those.
As in that album.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
All right.
We're always picking cover songs. Always terrible at picking cover songs, Kiss. God Gave Rock and Roll to you worked, but other than that, I don't know. They have a lot of bad ones.
That was a Neil Bogart choice because he wanted to try to make a hit single, because that was his specialty.
Worked.
Yeah. Well, it worked. I mean, simple as that. But, I'm always kind of annoyed that they didn't cut a studio Won't Get Fooled again. But, there you go.
I hope Kiss never, ever makes a tribute album to anybody. Please, no. Please never do it. I know they've picked a song here and there. It's okay. But please don't do a whole tribute album to somebody. No. If you want Kiss, I want their own music. Thank you.
I agree.
Daniel, let's go to you for your final pick. Room 101.
Well, I started out with putting Bruce Kulick in Room 101. Let's come full circle and put another guitarist in there.
Uh-oh.
This time it's a pretty obvious one. But you have to say Mark St. John. You have to say Mark St. John when talking about Room 101. I'm sure we've discussed this a million times, but how in the hell did they pick that guy? It was obvious he had drug problems. They must have noticed he couldn't play the same stuff twice pretty early, and they needed someone with flash and balls. But look at him in the Heavens on Fire video. Didn't look that great, did he? No. So he didn't have anything, except that he played fast, of course. And there's a million of those guys. So I never got my head around how they picked Mark St. John. It's a total mystery. Or do you know why?
Well, they said, like Ken said, they didn't want anybody to, they went through the Vinny thing where Vinny tried to, kind of be, try to, I don't know, what's that word I'm looking for. But anyways, you know what I'm talking about. Trying to be slick, They didn't want somebody to try to take over them. And they wanted to find basically another nobody, kind of in a way, kind of like they found Eric Carr. Yeah. And at the time, right? The time that was the style, the Bumblebee style was the style. And I'm like,
yeah, but he looked awkward. He played awkward. He moved awkwardly,
But he came recommended though. Paul Stanley was looking for somebody. Grover Jackson, who owns that guitar company,
that guy must have been high or something.
Said that he recommended him to him, saying that he was a real technically good player. So he recommended him to Paul, and there you go.
But still, you go back
why they still picked them, who knows?
Yeah, you go back to what Daniel's saying, and even during the recording of the album, Mark has said Paul was coming in and, shit-canning all the stuff. They'd leave him to work on his own, and, then come in and criticize everything that he did. So why did they keep him? Number one, visually, they must have done some test photos of them as a lineup. They didn't like what he was doing in the studio. Come on, they have to bring in Bruce to do some stuff. Yeah. So why did they keep him? I was thinking about putting Mark on my list, and then I thought, no, his tenure was so brief that I think it plays a part in the story of the band too important to erase him from history, even as brief as it was, in 1.5 live performances. But it boggles the mind. What the fuck were they thinking with Mark St. John? Rest in peace and all that. I would love to hear the demo tape. They must have heard a demo of his. To be that adamant to stick with him through the recording when they're not liking things and they're trying to get him to work their way. And you always hear that he couldn't play the same thing twice, and he doesn't look the part. He doesn't fit in with the band in any way. So what did they hear that made them say, we will take you?
Because they heard the Bumblebee thing, and the Bumblebee thing was big, and they said they were going on a tour, and the tour was arranged really quick, and they had to go overseas, and they had to get everything moving.
But like was said, there were so many of those guitarists around. I mean, they were falling out of trees. I mean, they're like Keith Richards. You could just go pluck one off the tree, and they were 6-foot, hot look, all American, black-haired shredders. He
probably had a demo tape that had him playing music that was already written, right? And did some things there, but they probably never heard him play something where he has to actually develop a guitar solo for a brand new song, where he has no melodic sense in that fashion. And
in addition to that, I think Paul wanted an ugly guy on stage, making him look even better. I think that could be one of the reasons, for real.
Yeah, I don't doubt that for a minute. But you know what? At the LA Expo, Ken, that may be a great question for Eddie, Mark's manager, or whatever the chap's name is. I can't remember off the top of my head. So apologies if I got that wrong.
By what? How did he have a demo or something?
Yeah, how the hell did he end up in? Just like Donut and Black Sabbath. I mean, it's such a clusterfuck for those two guys. How on earth did he end up in? I mean, was Grover that, hard for him? Simple as that. I mean, because the guy just didn't fit. Bless him, he's gone. It did not fit.
How would you feel like all of a sudden you get hired or as a hired gun and there's these two famous Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley looking at you, going right, you're a guitarist, here you go, and you hear to criticize them and stuff. How would you feel? Like you just get hired, all of a sudden you're all excited. Yeah, I get this new, it's a job. I get this new job. I'm so excited, and then all of a sudden you go in and there's two people like over your shoulder every, after you learn your job. All of a sudden you have two people looking over your shoulder going, no, we don't like this. No, we don't like it. You at your ears, and next you're going. And as I think that people saw in the past is that, they basically left Mark and Eric Carr in the studio while Gene and Paul went off doing whatever they were doing in California and having fun and doing whatever they're doing, and they would just show up and say, "Nah, we don't like that." And how would you feel? You do all this hard work, and all of a sudden somebody says, "No, we don't want that. You got to start all over again." And you're like, "Really?" I mean, imagine the guy must have been back against the wall too, in a way, Even though, like you said, they might not hire. Maybe they should have hired Bruce right away, but it is what it is. But I would imagine Gene and Paul must have been seriously intimidating.
The hell?
It's a light show.
Yeah. So, all right, so let's go to the voice of reason for his final pick and to bring the show to an end. Ken.
Oh my.
Yeah, you're still the voice of reason.
Pressure.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you. My final one is just going to be it's the Kiss stage for. I could have said all throughout the early 2000s and stuff, but the Kiss stage for the reunion tour, '96. I thought. Boring. I was very disappointed in that. I was expecting to see like a Live 2 Love Gun kind of ones with stairs and things. I mean, if you're gonna replicate the experience of 1977, which they were trying to do, especially they had the costumes and all. The stage was lackluster, very lackluster, and maybe it was because I had even though I bought tickets as early as I could, I was way the heck back in the the arena in San Jose, but still that when I look at that, it's not working, and I was kind of could top that off again, like I said, that they're the 2000s where they always say they had the best stage show and everything. It wasn't. The stage was kind of reused stuff from other tours, or it looked similar to the other ones, and there was nothing going on. At least it got a little bit better. Even Monster was a little better, but the way they finally changed something. So, '96 reunion tour stage was kind of they could have really done something really cool with that.
All right, so that's some of our picks of things that go into the room where the worstest thing in the world goes. And obviously all of this is very subjective, and we've taken off our rose-tinted glasses for a few minutes to really think about those things that make you want to put a cage on your head and drop in an angry, hungry rat to put you out of your misery. So, what are some of the things that you think could be erased from Kiss's history and ought to be never spoken about again. Let us know on one of the threads on YouTube, on Facebook, on the FAQ message board, or wherever you listen to the show, because we love it when you participate. So I think that is enough negativity for one day. I'm gonna go off and listen to Crazy Nights because I'm just in that sort of mood now. But Daniel, thank you for joining us and putting up with the technical issues. Some of you will probably say, after seeing this show, with no doubt the video issues that I know we're going to have, that we should put this episode in Room 101 as well. So listen to it. Listen, if you don't like the video today, go to the audio version, because we kind of stretch the technical bounds sometimes and fall flat on our face. So from Andy, from Ken, from Daniel, from Mark and myself, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next time.
Like I said, we're reindeer. We're going to get shot. We're going to get shot for
Thank
this.
you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.